right, listeners, here is the brewing controversy, and that's exactly what it is, and it's not going to go away. And it involves Samuel Adams beer. And I told you the story of what happened about 10 years ago when an official from that company was on with a couple of potty-mouth disc jockeys up in New York, big station, big audience, and he was right there taking part, Samuel Adams beer, when they were talking about telling people, where are you having sex now? Where's the weirdest place you're having sex? And they actually had allowed a couple on the air, and allowed them to go on the air to say they were doing it at St. Patrick's Cathedral. There was an uproar, and Samuel Adams stepped in it again. Now they have an ad, why name a beer after Sam Adams, and it quotes the Declaration of Independence. It omits a portion that references God. This is what the document says, and I just looked at it again right here. I have the Constitution with me. It isn't a religious paper or anything like that, or a religious document. All men are created equal, that they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the way the actor says it in the ad. But right here, in the actual document, it reads, all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and they left the word, their Creator, out. And now they're catching a lot of flack. And they've come up with this flimsy excuse by saying the Beer Institute Advertising Code says beer advertising and marketing materials should not include religious or religious themes. Now, the Constitution is not a religious theme, and it has nothing to do with a religious institution. In fact, it gives us a break from that if we want it as Americans. And so now they're wimping out by saying they're going to go according to their guidelines. They're still hearing a lot about it, and we have with us today Jeremy Joe. He is a marketing and advertising expert. Jeremy, Sam Adams stepped in it in that first story I talked about involving St. Patrick's Cathedral, and I think they've done it again here now. How do they get out of this one without trying to squirm out and try to pretend like the Constitution of the United States is a religious item?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I would say I think a lot of this is just going to blow over. I mean, I think they've done a fairly decent job in coming out with a basic mea culpa to those that they may have offended. I doubt very seriously they'll head in this direction again, but I can't see this as being a lasting blemish.
Well, there was the lasting blemish out of St. Patrick's Cathedral because a lot of people swore off that beer then and never had it since. And I understand their Facebook page is getting inundated with people who are very, very upset. But to try to say that they're following the guidelines of the Beer Institute and trying to call the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States a religious document is a bit ridiculous, don't you think?
Well, I can't say that they're necessarily labeling it as a religious document. In the Beer Institute's guidelines, it clearly says that they're not allowed to mention religion or religious themes. So I think out of an abundance of caution for those guidelines, that is why they kept the words "our Creator" up. I mean, essentially, what Sam Adams is doing is highlighting the attributes of their brand, and more so than anything. And they're, of course, putting a 4th of July spin on it.
Well, I guarantee you that commercial is going to disappear if it hasn't already disappeared. I mean, the fellow was a little bit involved in the founding of the country. And
very true.
I do think, Jeremy, that they have stepped in it again, and that I know that I don't have many, but I have a Facebook with about 2,000 people on it. They're awfully upset, the vast majority of them. And Samuel Adams is hearing it too. And it's just that I guess they had to come up with some excuse, but they've offended a lot of people. Again, there were people who swore off it after this. And did you even know about the St. Patrick's Cathedral incident?
Actually, no, I can't say that. I'd heard about that one.
They didn't know about it at Fox either, and they didn't know about it at Fox, and Fox definitely Fox, when they found out about it yesterday, they gave them a whole new light on the story. So it's not the first time they've had a runaround like this. And I just think it's not going to help them at all. And that we, as you say, you think it'll pass. Of course, it's going to pass, but I don't think they're going to recruit any new people to Sam Adams Beer as a result of it.
Well, I got to say, I think they definitely alienated a portion of their base, but I think they also attracted a newer base.
Well, now, who would the newer base be? I mean, who would the newer base be? Who would the newer base be?
I think the newer base would probably be a more progressive audience. Just those that believe in separation of church and state. Believe in.
So do I. I'm a conservative, and I believe that too. And I know when you say progressive, that's the new word for liberal. But I believe in separation of church and state.
Well, yeah. Well, and not to mention, I mean, quite frankly, I think if we really start to press them to break those guidelines, we'll see other companies that would come out and try to press the guideline of graphic nudity or inclusion of Santa Claus or cartoon characters.
Well,
yeah.
Let's talk about that for a moment, Jeremy.
Sure.
Does this mean that Budweiser and the rest of them aren't going to be doing Christmas themes anymore? Because Christmas, that actually means the Mass of Christ. It's an official federal holiday, and it is a religious day. And there's a lot of beers that do a lot of Christmas-themed commercials, including those Great Clydesdales. Does this mean, does the Beer Institute want that to stop, do you think?
Well, so far, I don't think anyone is offended with the Clydesdales or anything of that nature. The closest thing I see to Christmas ads are more around just winter holiday ads.
You're kidding.
They do keep themselves away from mentioning Christmas or approaching that particular borderline.
You're kidding. I mean, no. We're talking about the Clydesdales now, Christmas trees, Christmas themed. We're just going to agree to disagree on that one. I don't see. You got to look at some of their ads, man.
True, but I mean, how many people would be coming up in arms if they had that figure from the Bible drinking a beer or something of that nature?
Well, first of all, nobody's even talking about a Bible. We were talking earlier. They were quoting the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and they left out the simple word Creator. And at Christmas time, they do the whole 9 yards. It's not this. People are fed up with the attack on Christmas. It drives people crazy every year. But one of the industries that doesn't mind showing off Christmas trees and Santa Claus and Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas, by the way. Ooh, he was a religious figure. If they do it at Christmas, they better stop, according to the Beer Institute.
I actually would like to know if it was Ben Franklin beer, would they have used his famous quote, which is "Beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy." Would they have taken that out of there? I wonder.
They probably would have, out of an abundance of political correctness, when they do think it's proper to be politically correct. But they have stepped in at this time. Maybe you don't think so as a marketing executive. But again, as we told you, it's not the first time that this particular brewery has been involved in controversy. But you and I I agree it too shall pass, but I agree a whole lot of Sam Adams beer will never pass the lips of a lot of people again, because they've had it. They went out on a limb like any other company that's got a marketing campaign. They tested the waters. And I agree. They're going to get their fair share of backlash. But I think they're also going to get their fair share of new fun. Progressive people. All right. And by the way, Jeremy, I am not a progressive. I believe in the separation of church and state, although it appears nowhere in this document that I'm holding in my hand. Those two words don't appear, but I certainly believe in it. And I want to thank you for coming on today. Okay?
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks a lot for coming on with us.